He's based in South Africa these days. Dometic is a Swedish company, and he's going back to Sweden eventually, and so there were all kinds of problems. And so Harry will speak about the Dometic cook stoves, which I wish we were all getting paid by Dometic, because we were such promoters of that company's stoves. We really like them. Jean-Francois Hibbert will talk about the company that he is with that is involved with the sugarcane mill in Lekai, which is one of the major towns of Haiti. And Sagun, Saxena, you know, we've talked a lot about Project Gaia and Harry Stokes. Well, of course, that's where the linkage has been for Public-Private Alliance Foundation and CIMAC and PPAF Haiti. But Sagun, Saxena heads the CleanStar Mozambique program and is a co-founder of CleanStar Ventures, which deals in several renewable energy topics. And CleanStar in Mozambique has been doing some really very interesting work and has gone to scale and has taken on investment money that is really significant. And so we'll have a chance to hear some of the very important issues about how to get big. You've heard in the past couple of minutes about issues and problems, including Judy's remarks about a test that we ran at the Art Creation Foundation for Children, where not everything worked out just fine, and that's where we will deal with scaling up, and then after the break, talking about within our groups how to address practical issues, and that's where the expertise of all of you will come involved. Harry, thank you very much. Please take the floor.
Thank you, David. Project Gaia has been working since 1995. It comes from a tradition of energy leaders from the mid-20th century era, pre-World War II. People who had a passionate belief in alternative fuels, and especially alcohol fuels. The founders of Project Gaia were instrumental in the pro-alcohol movement in Brazil, in the alternative energy programs under Nixon and Carter in the U.S., and in alcohol production in India, China, and around the world. And we have quite a dialectic going, I think, with the Global Alliance for Clean Cook Stoves and the improved stove movement. We understand and acknowledge the importance of improved stoves, but we believe that clean fuels must be brought to the fore, and the sooner the better, and we believe that alcohol fuels are the answer. Over 100 billion liters of ethanol are produced globally today. Another similar measure of methanol, the other simple alcohol. 100 billion liters of ethanol, that's 100 billion families cooking at a liter per day. And the capacity to produce alcohol fuels, whether ethanol or methanol, is 100 times that on a sustainable basis. Part of what we've been pushing for is just what the biofuels industry in the U.S. and Brazil are pushing for, trying to get away from a petroleum economy into an alcohol fuels economy. But we focus on stoves, not automobiles, because stoves actually consume more energy around the world than automobiles do. So that's where we're coming from. We've been active since '95, and we've been active in Africa since 2001, beginning our projects in Nigeria, Ethiopia. We helped to prove the concept that I think paved the way for the fantastic work that CleanStar is doing today in Mozambique. So today I can announce that working with the facilitation of Project Gaia, the colleague to my left here, Jean-Francois Hibbert, representing Multiple Enterprises Haiti. Dometic AB and Multiple Enterprises Haiti have signed an agreement to bring these alcohol stoves to Haiti and to have them manufactured locally in Haiti by a Haitian-owned enterprise with design and engineering done by Haitian professionals, one of whom is represented here today from the Haitian American Association of Engineers and Scientists, Mr. Luckner. So we're very excited about that, and we're very excited about the alliance between Dometic and Multiple Enterprises Haiti, because this is a Haitian-owned and Haitian-driven business, already very skilled in supply chain issues that can tackle the problems that Judy just mentioned so ably. How to work the supply chain to make ethanol in small quantities affordable on a daily basis to the consumer. And so the charge of Multiple Enterprises Haiti is to be the first in the market with fuel-grade ethanol produced in a sustainable way and producing income and livelihoods for farmers and for farmer families. And Multiple Enterprises Haiti is very interested in working closely with Fritz Clairville and the Path to Haiti group, very interested in working with CleanStar, and interested in helping others in Haiti to get into the production of ethanol. Because frankly, the easy part of the equation is the stoves, and the harder part is the ethanol. Not because it can't be done sustainably, but because agriculture in Haiti has been so weakened by our global commodities trade and our lopsided trade agreements between the developed world and the developing world, that it will take a little time for the Haitian farmer to really get back into business. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Harry. That's good news. Let's hear more from Jean-Francois Hibbert.
Thank you, Dr. Stillman, for inviting me. Basically, I'll talk about Centrale des Salines, which is usine sucrière de Gaia, which is located in the southern peninsula of Haiti. It was a sugar mill that closed about 15 years ago. What we're doing now is we're removing the old equipment that's unusable, and we're going to install a 5,000 liter a day micro distillery, which is going to be based on both sugarcane and cassava. The reason we decided on both sugar and starch feedstocks is that in that area of that region of Haiti, there's a lot of cassava that's being grown because of the issue of topsoil. When you can't grow certain crops, usually the only crop that will grow is cassava. So there's an excess of cassava that can be used. And also during the distillation process, the cassava can be used for PGGS or animal feed. And so you can use the sugar cane, you take the sugar out to distill to make ethanol, but you also use the bagasse to create electricity. So it adds value to both the region because you're producing electricity, but also you can produce animal feed as well. As far as the cost, the gentleman that said that the distillery cost $20,000, let's talk afterwards. I want to talk about just quickly about the price of charcoal. If you look at the price, let's say if you take a value of 50 cents per kilo, that's the actual price of charcoal. The actual cost of charcoal is much, much higher. And no one seems to talk about it. There's no number that you can give to it. So I'm going to give you an example. In l'hôpital Immaculée Conception in Gaia, which is a general hospital, public hospital, I go there with some colleagues of mine. We provide trauma care 3 to 4 times a year. The hospital medical director gave us a chart. It was a spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet, and it showed 2 bumps. One in September, one in May. Okay, those were the increases in respiratory emissions during the year. Not total emissions, but just respiratory emissions. So what happens is that in September, when there's a rainy season, you see an increase in emissions, basically for pulmonary diseases, COPD, asthma, pneumonias. And the same bump happens in May. So at the start of the rainy season, you can basically predict there's a causality between the emissions and the rate of respiratory infections. And it's caused basically, as the lady before me said, that when you're cooking and it's raining, you have to cook inside or under a shelter. So therefore, you get more carbon monoxide, you get more particulate inspiration that causes disease. So if you took that chart and you took the rainfall chart of the area at the same dates, you would see the same bumps. The rainfall is causally related to the emissions in the general hospital. Now the hospital itself, when you're admitted, you don't have you don't pay because it's a public hospital, but you do have to pay for the medications. And anyone knows here that takes any types of inhalers or respiratory medications, they're very, very expensive. So even though you're admitted and you're not paying for the admission, you do have to pay for the antibiotics, you have to pay for the inhalers. And an inhaler in Haiti is at minimum $20 or $30. So just using the cost of charcoal, you can multiply by 10 to get to the real price of what this is costing the community. And I guess I have to stop, so I have one more minute, okay. So basically what we're trying to do is to use the local farmers, the local agronomists to try to increase the production of sugarcane. We're going to start very small. It's going to be only a few hundred hectares to start, but gradually to increase that so that we can go see the gentleman from IDP and ask him for more money. Thank you.
I very much appreciated the medical side of the cost of charcoal. And when we think about how much somebody actually pays for charcoal, it's kind of like what how much you pay for gasoline, and what does it really cost in many ways, environmentally and socially and politically. There are all these issues involved in costs. And in the case of charcoal, when charcoal is when wood is cut down in the forest and shipped in, people are not considering the element of that jack up the total cost beyond what is actually paid in the marketplace. I'd like to move now to Sagun Saxena, whose name rhymes with success. So let's hear from you.
Yeah, thanks, David. So a few minutes ago, our colleagues passed out this flyer, which I hope you've had a chance to see. On the cover is Donna Laura. She's a fantastic entrepreneur who lives in Mavalan, a neighborhood outside Maputo, close to the airport. And she runs a little vegetable stand. And the income from that supports her and her family of 4. Donna Laura was one of the first customers for CleanStar Mozambique, a company that we set up just over 2 years ago to try and address the growing dissatisfaction with the use of charcoal in urban settings. People in Maputo are now paying about $1 a day for charcoal, and that's almost doubled in the last 3 years. As the forest resources in Mozambique have dwindled, they're much further away from the city than they ever were, and so getting charcoal is becoming increasingly expensive. And many people like Donna Laura really value their time, and the fact that it takes so long to light a charcoal fire is one of the things they dislike most about it. So our venture, CleanStar Mozambique, started as a concept just about 2 or 3 years ago as we saw what had been going on in this field, learned a lot from Harry and the team at Gaia about ethanol-based cooking, and saw that there was a potential to introduce a completely new kind of business, one that could provide the stove and the fuel at affordable prices in the urban environment, so at prices that are cost competitive with charcoal, but that also produce the fuel itself. So our business today, as you see on the back of this flyer, has three components to it. We have our own shops and distribution facilities across Maputo, about 50 retail points now. We have our own processing plant that produces about 2 million liters of ethanol per year right now, and we're in the process of expanding that about 10 times the size. And then a large network of farmers that do the actual production of the raw materials. And we take this opportunity to introduce a whole range of sustainable farming practices to ensure that food production is increasing as well as the production of the raw material for the ethanol. And so this business model was developed, conceived, and tested in 2011. And subsequently, we've managed to raise about $20 million of financing from a range of all commercial investors. There's no donor funding or government funding in this business at all. It's all commercial investment from the likes of Novozymes, ICM, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, and more recently the Soros Economic Development Fund. I'd like to just put three things out there that I think are relevant that we can pick up more in the discussions, but there are three lessons that I think we've really learned in operationalizing this concept. We've now got just over 10,000 users in Maputo that are using our stoves. That's only in 4 of the 40 neighborhoods in the city. So we have a very small footprint right now. Our target, which we're ahead on in progress in terms of, is about 20% of Maputo households by the end of next year. So this can be done. It can be done at scale. But there are lessons we've learned along the way, and I think three things that I'd like to put out there. First is that building these types of businesses, in our view, requires thinking across the value chain. Businesses in ethanol-based cooking need to invest massively in building the retail and distribution network to ensure that the supply of fuel is very close to the customers, and that when they buy the stove, they know that the company supplying the stove with the fuel is not going to abandon them. But also investment in the processing facilities and in really world-class ethanol production capacity. The challenge with smaller scale plants is that quality can be a real problem, and quality can be a safety issue. And so it's essential that we invest adequately in the production of the fuel. And then agriculture. The raw materials need to come from sustainable sources. We cannot be competing with food sources. We cannot be creating other environmental or social disruptions. So value chain investment is important. That means a significantly greater amount of capital required in these businesses and a lot of complexity. We need teams that are good at marketing to women in these households, but we also need people that are good at agriculture. So very diverse teams required, and therefore partnerships required. Second thing is that there needs to be a really sound business model. And we've looked now in the last few years at a number of opportunities in other countries. We're looking at Haiti as well. And for us, it's essential that there be a fundamentally sound business model. So there needs to be a way for eventually the revenues to cover the costs of operating the business and eventually provide some kind of payback to the investors. And for many reasons, we've found that in many markets, developers have not quite been able to achieve that. But there are many things that go into that, and I'd be happy to talk more about that. And then the third thing, which I'd suggest for all of us, is that we have to manage expectations properly. We have to be very careful about creating too high expectations too early on. The product, as you've heard, has some significant limitations. There are cultural differences in how people cook. This product is not yet adapted to them. So we have to be careful in terms of what we can promise to potential customers, what we can promise to other stakeholders, including governments that are increasingly becoming supportive of this initiatives, and then finally what we can promise to investors that are looking to take the early steps into this space. So three thoughts, and look forward to discussing further.
Thank you very much. And thanks to all the speakers this morning. What we'll do now is look in your folders. You will see a sheet that is called Issues for Working Groups. And there are six major issues, 6 groups that we've identified. Stoves, fuel, distillation, distribution, finance, and awareness. And I would like for the people in the room and the people who have spoken already this morning to join different groups. I leave it to you to choose which ones, but we do need to have a balance. You know, we can't all go to one group and leave others, without any membership. So take take this and think about it as we take a break now there's a coffee bar upstairs. They also sell juice and other things like that. The laboratory facilities are around the corner here, and it is now 11:30. Let's come back here in 15 minutes so that we have a good hour for discussions in the working groups, and then a wrap-up back in plenary where we will report out. Now, as you also see on these sheets, it says, when you start, choose one or more persons who will take notes and will report back to the plenary session. And I have a notebook for each of the groups so that notes and ideas can be recorded. Also, we've assigned someone to each group from our team from Public-Private Alliance Foundation, and they will work with you to make sure that you stay on track and assist with their skill sets as well. Without going further into that, let's take our break now and come back in 15 minutes. Thank you very much.